Hi, this is Michelle Chudy, and I wanted to share my story with you about my journey in Kingdom Builders Academy and my faith fight into the inner circle. For all appearances' sake, it looked like I would be the perfect candidate for Kingdom Builders Academy and their inner circle. On paper, we looked good financially. And then also, with my resume, I was a VP of marketing, a company officer. I also had experience as a Fortune 200 business innovator. It just went on and on with like my actual credentials. And, I started boot camp when I found Tamara's message on the Elijah list. I received one of her emails. And I was kind of skeptical to actually click the link and join it because, my background is marketing. And I wanted to kind of check into it, kick the tires to see if everything was what it said it was. And I normally don't ever click on the links, but there was something about what was in that email that made me want to try it out. And I did. So I took boot camp and I started that, and I just literally fell in love with the program. And I realized very quickly what Tamara was providing for free. My previous agencies or companies used to pay a lot of money for that same information. So what I decided was I was all in and I needed what she had to offer. And so when I was in the middle of boot camp, I started praying for an invitation into the inner circle. And I didn't know what I was praying for. I just knew that I needed it in that fast track, which was the rapid implementation program on how to build your business, was part of Inner Circle at the time. So I started praying for an invitation because it was sold out and it was by invitation only. And along this journey, I keep plugging along and I quickly finished boot camp, and I did it within 2 weeks because I was so determined to get finished before the window expired, and it was only available for 30 days at the time. So long story short, when it came time for me to have my strategy session coach immediately said I would be a fantastic fit for the inner circle and offered me the opportunity that I've been praying for. Well, what I was not expecting was the tuition that came along with the inner circle invitation. And as much as I wanted to be part of it and I knew that I needed fast track, I just financially was not in a situation to be able to do anything. Because what most people don't know in my story and the backstory was both my husband and I were unemployed at the time when I stumbled upon Kingdom Builders Academy and received my invitation into the inner circle. So that started the faith fight because I knew that the Lord was bringing me something that I desperately needed and also desperately wanted. My husband and I prayed about it, and we both spoke to the strategy session coach and just asked all the questions that we thought we should as far as being diligent. And we prayed again. And then we decided that we were going to go ahead and do it, that I was going to take the invitation and just jump on it. So we came back to the coach and told him that we wanted to do it, but we would have to pay via credit card. Well, the funny and sad thing at the time is that Kingdom Builders Academy did not take credit card for tuition payment at the time. And I did not like that response because I was ready to go, and it was just like another obstacle for me. And of course, my retort back to my coach was, I thought we were supposed to take all forms of payment to make it easier for our consumer. So something to laugh about now because, we actually do accept credit card payments for Inner Circle now to make it easier for the consumer. But that wasn't the path that the Lord had for me. So that started a journey for me in pursuit of Kingdom Builders Academy's fast track program and also the Inner Circle. I had to come back to my coach and tell him that I wasn't able to do anything at the time. And, we looked at everything that we had available to us, but our finances were completely constrained due to our third round of pruning. And like I said, we were both unemployed at the time, and that was our third round of it. So the Lord had taken us down a path where He had us hemmed in and was getting us to turn from our corporate background experience and really to pursue what He had put into our heart. So the day that I had to give my response back to my coach to let him know whether or not I could actually do something, I was literally in bed sick. I had bronchitis and laryngitis and was not able to speak, barely even whisper. And I was so miserable on top of being sick because I knew that I had to tell him that I wasn't able to do the inner circle at the time. And I didn't know if they'd hold my spot for me. So long story short, like I already said, long story short, but this even shorter, the day that I was supposed to respond to him, I get a text from one of my church members that I go to church with, and she asked if I would be willing to do a consulting job with her and use my marketing expertise. And it was something that I was secretly hoping that the Lord would just open up a window of opportunity for me and a check would come into the mail. But that wasn't how He wanted it to be. I didn't think it was happenstance that I got the text the same day that I had to give my response to my coach. So I told her that I would reach back to her when I was able to speak in the next couple of days. And I also texted my coach and told him what the situation was, that I really wanted to do it, but I just wasn't able to. And so I took the opportunity that the Lord gave me to earn the income for Inner Circle, and I had to consult my way into it. So it wasn't something where I just went to my bank and pulled the money out. I literally had to help another kingdom person with their business by using my skill sets in order to help her to, overcome some business obstacles that she was facing. And I prayed about it, and this person who was notorious for being very frugal, the Lord told me that He would prepare her heart and that I was to charge her the tuition plus the tithe, and that He would take care of it on her end. And so when we had our conversation and we laid out all the expectations, I told her what the Lord had said, that He would prepare her heart. And I told her what she was paying for, that she was going to be getting, everything that she needed, but what she was actually sowing seed into was my proprietary system in Kingdom Builders Academy. And so she immediately said yes. And I worked for 3 months to raise the tuition for Kingdom Builders Academy, Inner Circle, and also Fast Track. And what was the irony of it all is that I worked way more than what I had committed to, and could have charged easily $3,000 more, but that wasn't something that was going to happen either, because she only was willing to pay the tuition plus the tithe. So here I am, almost 2 years later, going through Kingdom Builders Academy and going through their boot camp, joining Fast Track in the Inner Circle, and I graduated in August of 2016. And I am asked all the time, was it worth it? Is the tuition worth the money and the time and everything that was invested in it? And I would tell you hands down, yes, I do it 1,000 times over. At the other end of the spectrum, having gone through everything in consulting to get into it, in my fight to take that paycheck once it was in hand, about whether or not to use it for Kingdom Builders Academy or keep it for, my own needs, because we were coming through dual unemployment, I knew that I worked specifically for that tuition, and that was what it was tied to and what I was supposed to sow into. And so I would do it 1,000 times over. And here I am, a certified Kingdom Builders Academy coach, and I am now consulting for KBA as a strategy session coach. I am a live trainer for the Academy every Friday and loving it. And then I also do accountability sessions. And this is all in addition to what I learned how to do as far as building out my system. And oh, by the way, the homework that I had to do for Fast Track, which was to write an ebook, hit #1 bestseller in 3 Amazon categories a few months ago. So by all means, it's worth it. On top of, the things that I have learned from Tamara, who is an amazing mentor, the community hands down was worth every cent. I mean, I can't tell you enough about how awesome it is to be part of this Kingdom Builders Academy, and specifically the Inner Circle, because I am around like-minded people that they're just fabulous, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So if you're struggling about the decision of whether or not the money is worth the investment, I can tell you from my own self, my own personal journey, it was worth every bit, and I know it was appointed for me to do so. So I hope that helps in your decision making, and fight the good fight of faith. God wouldn't ask you to do it if it were easy, because it doesn't require faith if you can see it, and if it doesn't require a little bit of risk and stretch. So God bless, and enjoy the journey.